What's going on, guys? Proto here. Today we're going to be going over virtual machines, how to set them up, and what they are. So let's get to it.
Because the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Alright, everybody. Thanks for tuning into this video. It's been a little bit since the last one, and I appreciate just everything, the checking in, the still communicating, and everything that goes along with this little community that we have here. It's a very niche one. So we're going to be going over virtual machines. So let's switch over to that. There's usually like some cool tagline here. I have nothing for this one. So if you do have one, if you got one of those little zingers in your head, throw it down in the comments. And what I might do is contact you for the next one. So, virtual machines. Here we go. Just like before, we're going to go over the agenda for this video. We have the legal considerations, and then we have an introduction to virtual machines, the different software, hardware considerations, security, safety, and the conclusion. So, legal stuff. Again, just like all the other videos, it's educational stuff that I'm putting out. I don't condone unethical or illegal hacking, unauthorized access to accounts, buying such information, or anything else nefarious. So yeah, there's your little legal warning. So the introduction, well, we're going to go over VMs. It's the common abbreviation for virtual machines. So a virtual machine is a program that allows you to create a virtual computer and run operating systems off of your computer that you already have. The cool thing with virtual machines is you can have access to certain folders on your computer. You can share files and things like that, or it can be completely what's called sandboxed, meaning it only can be within the virtual machine program that you use, and it can't interact with anything other than the base hardware to actually run that operating system. The one big thing is you have to have still minimum requirements for the operating system that you're trying to run, and you're still running these programs on a computer, so you have to make sure your computer can run the program as well as that other operating system. And it'll tell you when you set up the computer, and we'll go over that, if your computer is capable of running it. So virtual machines, it's a hypervisor. It's not a futuristic hat. See, I was able to throw a little zinger in there, though. There are two types, type 1 and type 2, kind of like diabetes, type 1 and type 2. So type 1, it's going to run on bare metal, meaning it's going to run on just the hardware of a computer. There's no operating system running behind it. It is essentially the operating system. It is the most efficient, but it can also be more expensive to run depending on how it's set up. What most everybody that's going to be watching this video will use is a type 2. You have a host operating system, so I have a laptop. I have an operating system on that laptop that can run a program that allows me to create virtual machines, and that is how that is done. There are security flaws, though, for a type 2. And the same that a type 1 has, but type 2 is more prevalent because the security flaws of the host operating system can pass to the virtual machine, and possibly vice versa. We'll go over that later. So here's the type 1 and type 2 comparison. I believe I got this little screen grab from Tech Target, and I think I have it linked in the back end. So if you want this, you can have it. And there's also another link in the back end of this on the resources portion that goes way deeper into hypervisors, and I can guarantee you that there's some things that I might miscommunicate about them. But I'm just trying to breeze over it so we understand the basics. So again, we're going to go over type 1 and type 2. So you have the type 1, which is the hardware. Then you have the hypervisor, which is the program. And then you have the 2 operating systems. Whereas with what I'll be running, and what, again, most everybody else will be running, is the Type 2. You have the hardware, the host operating system, so Windows, Linux, Mac, and you have the hypervisor, which can be part of the computer as well as a program on the computer, because Windows has its own built-in hypervisor. And then you have, again, your 2 guest operating systems. So we have a couple different ways to run virtual machines, and they're going to be programs that we use. The first one I'm going to talk about today is VirtualBox. So it's by Oracle, same people that do Java. It is a Type 2 hypervisor. It's free, open source, and here's where it can be a little bit preferency, I'll say. It's more complex in terms of what it can do out of the box, but it does have a user-friendly GUI, and I'll go into this after I talk about the next one. It supports multiple disk formats, so there's different ways that you can store the virtual hard disk. I believe there's 4 different file formats that VirtualBox can support, or the 4 main ones that it can support, whereas the other one I believe can only support 1 or 2. Again, we'll go over that in just a minute. It can be slow to run certain operating systems, and I've talked about this in another video. I went over, I believe it was 5 different operating systems, and one of them I actually switched over in the middle of the video to a different virtual machine software because it ran so much better. So it can be picky. The cool thing also with VirtualBox is there are multiple pre-made virtual machines that already exist. You just have to download the virtual machine, import it into the system, and boom, you're ready to go. 2 cool things and 2 big things, especially if you're into the OSINT portion, you're not just trying to see, what's Linux like and things like that, is really the clone and snapshot abilities. I love the snapshot ability because I tend to break things really often, and so with that I can take a snapshot of when I first do it. I can then do some upgrades and updates and whatever I want to do, take another snapshot. Everything's working fine, and I go, I want to break something for some reason, and then it breaks. I can go back to that previous snapshot and everything's fixed like it was from that point. Anything I did forward, it's not there anymore. So if there's any documents or things like that, they're not going to be there. However, your entire system isn't done, at least. And then that clone ability is actually super important for OSINT investigations, because when you have your one base, just hit the mic. When you have your one base virtual machine, you don't want to do your investigations off of that. You want to have that be where you do your upgrades, your updates, things like that. Clone that, and then that is what you do your investigations on. Then you can actually store that hard drive file, and you can either keep it how it is in case it's needed for court purposes, or you can just completely erase that virtual machine and not have to use it ever again. So again, those 2 are big in my book. And then you have the virtual network customization. So with VirtualBox, you can have a Kali Linux machine, and you can have a Windows machine, and you can have a Metasploitable machine if you can get it to work. I've never been able to, but again, I break things. Have them all on the same virtual network within VirtualBox. Have them all running at the same time, as long as your computer can support it, and they can all interact with each other. So you can, on your Kali Linux machine, send something over to the Windows machine, whether that be through exe file or whatnot, and then you can run commands from Kali Linux just as if you were going through a try hack me or a red team operation. all encompassed though into this virtual machine, or in this virtual environment, I'll call it. And then the next one we're going over, again, a lot less that we're going to talk about for this one. It's VMware Workstation. So they have a, we'll go in order. It's a Type 1 hypervisor, so it can actually be run off of bare metal. It doesn't need a host operating system. However, the workstation can be used as a executable file download, and then ran on, I believe they have at minimum Windows and Mac support. I'm not sure about Linux. They might though. Check it out. If they do, let me know in the comments. So again, it's Type 1, so it can run off the bare metal. Big difference right now is it's paid and free versions. So with the free version, you don't get nearly as many options and abilities as you do in the paid version. However, those things that you're missing out on for the free version of VMware Workstation, you're getting in VirtualBox, which is completely free. Again, it's a little bit more complex to use, but it does have that user-friendly interface. VMware is not open source, so you don't have prying eyes of the community working on this and going, hey, this is kind of jacked up, this might be a little messed up, hey, there might be a security flaw. It's just VMware is the one that's doing everything. VMware is actually super simple to use, very simple. It has a lackluster GUI though, really kind of difficult to navigate when you're first starting to use it. It has more icons that don't really work in my mind the way that I would think they would. So the way the bar is set up on VirtualBox, it's it's got the different icons, it's got the text. It's pretty easy to see where things are and how to either get out of a full screen mode or get into a full screen mode. All that is actually pretty easy to figure out, whereas in VMware Workstation it can get kind of confusing if you're not used to it, which if you watch the video of me using it, I get kind of confused on it. Again, not something that I use a lot. We'll say you do get a lot higher performance. So the operating system that I had used where I needed that, it actually said on the website to use VMware Workstation because it will run better. And again, just like with VMware or VirtualBox, there are multiple pre-made VMs, but I found more for VirtualBox than VMware Workstation. So those are the two that we're going to go over: VirtualBox and then VMware Workstation. Again, both have free versions. Both do the base same functions. However, with VirtualBox, you do get a bit more. Now, let's talk about hardware. If we've ever talked about computers and kind of nerded out, I'm not a hardware guy. Never really been one. It's something that I've been trying to learn. That's kind of why I got into ham radio, was to learn that hardware stuff. But I kind of went over this based off of just what their website said or what information I could find. So when you're working with virtual machines, there are limitations when you're just starting off. So you have a base level computer, you may not be able to run virtual machines at all. It kind of just depends on what your computer has from the get-go. To give you an idea, I had a Toshiba laptop. It was from 2013. Yeah, about 2013. It was, I'll say, in terms of a work computer, top of the line. Terabyte hard drive. I believe it had 32 gigs of RAM. It only had an integrated graphics card. It wasn't a gaming computer, but everything else was made for more of that programming side and that business side, not necessarily a gaming or graphic editing or things like that. Couldn't run any virtual machines. The Surface Pro 3 that I have here that came out in, 2015, 2014, probably around the same time period, runs virtual machines. I've wiped this computer more times than I can count, put more actual operating systems on it, and have ran VirtualBox on there, and VMware Workstation, because at one point I had Windows. So yeah, you just kind of have to check with your computer, one, if it can run a hypervisor, especially if you're running Windows, and two, what you can actually run. What are your hardware specs? So a long way to say it is possible to run VMs on older computers, as long as the hardware requirements are met. So for VMware, you have to have a 64-bit processor or equivalent, which most computers have now. It has to be 1.3 gigahertz or faster. You need 2 gigabytes minimum of RAM. 4 gigabytes is recommended. And you need to have ample hard drive space. And I believe that is from their website. Ample hard drive space. So that should tell you, one, the other issue or side of virtual machines is you have to store a second hard drive on your computer. And then for VirtualBox, same exact things right here. Just it doesn't say ample hard drive space, so it's kind of weird. So keep this in mind. You need your computer to run your operating system, what it's running itself, plus the application and the guest operating system. Or if you're trying to run one or two, both of those at the same time. Now, safety and security. So VMs are set up as a sandbox. So nothing bad, the sand should escape the virtual machine, the box. So if you're messing around with Kali Linux and you're downloading different programs, you're downloading different scripts, and you end up downloading something malicious, whether it be from a website or you go to a malicious site, whatever you're doing, you've done something where it has now downloaded a malicious file onto your computer or onto that guest operating system. It should only stay within that guest operating system. It should not leave it, and it should not have its little crawly tentacle thingies reaching out over into your actual host operating system and get into your actual host files. Shouldn't. We'll put the little asterisk there. What you do in the virtual machine should not affect the host operating system. It should only affect the virtual machine. Now, there are vulnerabilities and exploits that allow malicious code to escape the sandbox. One of the big ones is Pwn to Own. That was a competition, and there's actually a whole Darknet Diaries episode on it. And the CVE, that's the Common Vulnerabilities and Exposures. That's the CVE is going to be a CVE and some numbers, and that is the name given to a vulnerability or exploit, and then it's also giving a scale for how severe it is. So, excuse me, my allergies are killing me. So the CVE was actually shown off at the Pwn to Own competition for, I believe it was VirtualBox, where they were actually able to escape the sandbox and get onto the host operating system and get control of that host operating system. So like I said, in the end of this, there's a little link for the Darknet Diaries episode. I don't know if you'll be able to click on it. Don't know if I have access to that yet in YouTube, but if not, you can pause it and then just see what episode it was. So, how do you protect yourself? Well, update. Anytime there's an update for the guest operating system, any type of security software you may be running on that guest operating system, as well as the virtual machine program you're using, whether it's VirtualBox or VMware, and your computer. The biggest flaw we have in safety and security is not updating your equipment enough and regularly enough to where vulnerabilities that are found and can be blocked aren't. So make sure you're constantly making sure everything's up to date, and you should be aware. Something might pop up when you pull up VirtualBox. It does it for me. Click open up VirtualBox. It pops up, hey, new thing, new update. Download that and do the other couple steps, and good to go after that. With the operating systems, if you're using Kali Linux, it may not be necessary to actually download a whole new virtual machine. You might just be able to do the internal update. The other thing you can do is have a dedicated PC that's not on your home network for testing that possibly malicious code or going to those possibly malicious websites. One of the big things on using a virtual machine for is going those places that you shouldn't go, making sure that, hey, I'm running this code for whatever operation I'm doing, or I'm testing this stuff for try hack me. I want to make sure that I can run it safely, properly in that virtual environment, not just on my dedicated laptop. Another thing is making sure it's not on your home network if you can go around that. Making sure that everything now is smart, so making sure that because everything's going to be connected on the home network, that malicious software can't get onto your network. I believe Axon, I know Axon did, and I know Network Chuck have gone over that type of malicious environment. So if you have questions on that, check out their channels. If I can find them, I'll link a couple of the videos. I don't know if I will be able to, though. The one for Network Chuck, probably a few years old now. So, tangents. That's what I do. That's the name of the game here at Protavoid. We just go on tangents. We enter the void. We don't go down the rabbit hole. We enter the void, 'cause we never come back. So, I have no clue where I was about to go with anything else on this safety portion. So we're just gonna, go to the next slide. Resources. So, you have the geeksforgeeks.org. This is where I did the difference between VMware and VirtualBox. Just easier that way when somebody else compares it for you. And then here's that Tech Target. These are the Type 1 and Type 2 hypervisors. This one goes into so much detail. I learned a lot more about the hypervisor process just doing this one video than I had using virtual machines for the last I don't know how many years. Here's that Darknet Diaries episode. It's episode 82. I'll do it like bingo. Episode 82. That's where they go over the Master of Pwn. Go over the whole competition, but I believe this episode was just solely focused on the VirtualBox one. And then this is to inform, not scare, not to do anything of that. This is just for information if you've never looked at CVEs. So if you go to cve.mitre.org, you'll be able to go and search for the different CVEs. You'll be able to see all the CVEs and stuff like that. Get familiar with them, especially if this is that realm that you want to go into in cybersecurity. But if you search virtual machine, you'll be able to see the different CVEs that are affected by virtual machines. And you know what? Just for funsies, here, we'll finish this off. So that's that. I'm Proto. This is my Instagram. It's the best way to contact me still. Here is the website. I have no clue what's going to happen with this. I have this. I have the Buy Me a Coffee. Everything's kind of up in the air right now. Not sure where things are going to go. But this is still the best way to contact me if you have any questions. And then, again, leave comments on these videos. It's how I'm able to make sure that these are what you're looking for, making sure that this is the information that you need for this or would like for this. And if there's anything else that you want to know about or learn about, let me know. If I don't know, I'll find out and I'll give you what I can on it. But let me pause this right quick. Alright, and I'm going to go away now. So, I went to cvd.migra.org, and apparently everything kind of changed since the last time that I looked at this. So I clicked so everything's going to the all new CVE website, so it's right here. You can do the CVE ID, which tells you all that stuff, and then you can find by keyword on the old website still. So we're going to search, and we're going to do virtual machine. So CVE 2023 30629 tells you all of this. It can get super weird. It's really the only way that I can describe it. There are some things that I had never heard of in terms of not only exploits, but programs and just random stuff that you'd see. Yeah, I just saw it. I saw Sandbox. So sorry, I got again rabbit hole. So you have the VMWARE. It's not pronounced ESXi. I believe that's supposed to be the Roman numeral. Don't remember though. So this one, the Workstation Infusion, it's called an out-of-bounds vulnerability when it escapes the sandbox. So all of them contain a heap of out-of-bounds write vulnerabilities in the USB controller. If you have local admin privileges on a virtual machine, you may exploit this issue and execute code as if the process was running on the host. That's exactly the type of stuff that we were talking about in terms of that safety portion. And then on this one, it's contained within the VMX sandbox, whereas on the Workstation Infusion, so the stuff that us people will be using mainly, it will lead to code execution on the machine where Workstation Infusion are installed. So we're going to look at this. That was 2022. So if you click on it, it gives you the ID. And then it should, that's all legacy stuff. So these are the two references for it. And then there's a printer-friendly view. But let's see, since they changed the website, there used to be other information on this. Yeah. Alright, yeah. So there are times where there is, we go back down here, there may be comments on it, and it might be in references to, but there are times where it's been commented on, whether it's been fixed and things of that nature. We're going to click on this link. Aha, yes. NIST. This is another great one, and I think this is what I was trying to find on here. I think I just forgot to click on that. So this gives you the severity score. So it has an 8.2, which is obviously high. Tells you when it was published and last modified for this. It gives you the CVE name here, and then if you scroll down, it tells you, and this is what I was trying to look for, it tells you the affected software configs. And then, and I believe this is it. So this is where it'll tell you, yeah, here's the vendor. So vendor advisory. This is the VMware telling you what's going on, and then anything they've done to fix it or whatnot. So here's all this. You can go down a very large tangent when looking at CVEs, kind of like we have. So this video is at 30 minutes already. So here's what I'll do. This will be the video for this week. I have some family stuff that kind of jumped up out of nowhere, so I've been spending a lot of time trying to fix that. Everybody's okay, but there's some stuff going on that needs to be taken care of. So here's what I'll do with this video. Let me know if you liked it. Let me know if it was helpful and informative. Let me know if you have any questions. What I'll do is next week for the video that I post, I'll be going over setting up both a VMware Workstation virtual machine and a VirtualBox virtual machine. If you want to see both, let me know. If you want to see one versus another, let me know. I want to make this as informative for you and as helpful for you. I know that there are thousands and upon thousands of videos for people creating virtual machines. Network Chuck has one. Plenty. I watch a lot of Network Chuck videos when I was studying for my Network Plus and stuff like that. So that is why I know a lot of his videos. But if you have any questions, let me know. If this is what you'd like to see in terms of me making another video about setting up virtual machines, let me know. All of that's going to be super helpful for me to figure out what I'm going to do going forward for this next week. So, like I said at the beginning, I'm Proto. Thanks again for the following and checking out this video. It's going to be posted on my Instagram and my YouTube page, and it'll probably be posted on my library. Haven't updated that in a while, but yeah, since YouTube still likes me, we're going to keep it there. Again, appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of the week.
Because the road to hell is paved with good intentions.